Hey everybody, this is TotalGamerJunkie. I want to welcome you all back to my channel. So in this video, I want to go over what Pixie's role could possibly be in the next issue, in the next arc of Life is Strange called Echoes. Now, at the end of issue 16, we see that Pixie, in Tristan and Rachel's timeline, she remembered Max rewinding the car crash, and she was completely shocked in that room when she had to get the luggage and she was crouching in the corner. And then we see her counterpart in Max's original timeline, and she can not only see Tristan but also hear him when Chloe and the other members of the High C can't. So, like I said, these are just theories before, so I don't have any proof, but you know, I like to make these theory videos, I like to guess. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm not. So anyways, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I think is going to happen in the next arc of Life is Strange, at least like one of the potential outcomes, is that we're going to see whether or not everyone can see Tristan when Pixie grabs Tristan's hand, because on the very last page of issue 16, we see Pixie reach out to Tristan, and it just says, "To be continued," and now we have to wait till July 7th until we get the next issue. So it was like pretty open-ended, but I think it is possible, as I mentioned in the previous video I just uploaded, when in issue 2, Max was at the Two Whales diner that the hurricane had destroyed in Arcadia Bay, and she was able to see this completely different timeline. And when Chloe walked in and held Max's hand, she was able to see that timeline too. And we see this happen again in later on in the issue, or it might have been issue 3. No, I think it was issue 2. We see this later on in in Chloe's home, where Max is able to see Joyce, but when Chloe takes Max's hand, she can't see or hear Joyce because she's dead in that timeline. Which brings me to my second theory, which is, has the Pixie in Rachel's timeline become intangible as well? Now, we see that the other one of Rachel's cast members, what was his name? Dex, that's it. We see Dex, and he ends up finding Pixie on the floor, and she's crying because she remembered the tree falling on the van, and all of them, and her and Dex and the others getting into a car accident, getting into that accident. And I assume that she also remembers Max rewinding time. But like with the Pixie from Max's timeline, the Pixie in Rachel's timeline, like, her fate is ambiguous. It's left open to interpretation because Dex can see her, but like he can see, hear, and touch her, but we don't know if the others can see, hear, or touch her. Which I guess could, if that's true, if the both Pixies are connected in this way, then I guess maybe it's possible for Tristan to able to hold Pixie's hand in Max's original timeline, because if the Pixie in Rachel's timeline can hug Dex, then maybe it's a possibility that the Pixie in Max's original timeline can do the same for Tristan. I don't know. Another wild theory about what Pixie's role in the next arc is going to be is when she's crying in the corner and Dex comforts her, she isn't talking about the crash. Maybe, I think what could have happened here is that she ended up having a vision of another storm happening. Because I made a theory video a while ago. This was back in the second arc. If any of you remember, Rachel and Chloe had this friend, and I forget her name, but she OD'd, and so Max rewinded time, and this was to save Tristan from the gunshot, and you know, when the drug dealers were trying to kill him because they remembered him, how they botched his deal, I think it was 2 years ago. So yeah, so what happens is she ends up surviving. I think it was Callie. I'm not too sure. But basically, whatever her name was, she ended up surviving, and I was saying that, oh no, there's going to be a storm now, but it never happened. So, could this happen with, Pixie, with somehow Max rewinding time and completely screwing things up as well? Because if you take a look at the cover screen here, you can see that you can see Max along with Chloe, and there's broken glass everywhere, so you can see both of them together. Another theory I have is that maybe what Max did, because she basically pushed Tristan out of the timeline she was in, which is his, and pushed Tristan back into hers. And now that Tristan's intangible, maybe that's what the transit was trying to do to Max in issue 12. If any of you remember issue 12, this was when Max and Tristan entered the transect. And is it transit or transect? I'm pretty sure it's transect. I'm sorry, I'm getting this confused. I'll have to look it up later. But basically, when they enter, there's like Max nearly dies because like bits of glass try to kill her, but Tristan manages to push her out of the way. And then we see the ground, and it starts to wrap its legs around Tristan, and so that's why Tristan and Max have to keep running. And you can see that if you go back to issue 12 and you look at Tristan's legs, you can see that this white and black color is just wrapping itself around his legs, and basically Tristan ends up going to Max's timeline, but she can't leave. She's trapped in the transect, and when Max tries to leave, like when she realizes she can't, she just gives up, and she just sits down and she lets the transect take her to whatever's gonna happen. Like, is she gonna die? Is she gonna fade from existence? Like, she was ready to give up at that point until Chloe saved her. So what I think has happened is that basically what Tristan has been kind of erased from existence, but sorry, not Tristan. What I think is going to happen is that the transect, like, basically it's going to start destroying this timeline, and the sky will literally be breaking into pieces of glass and just falling everywhere, and we'll see that the transect is starting to form, and everything's just going to be looking all red, white, black, with broken shards everywhere. And that may not happen. I know that seems like a far stretch, but that could literally happen. And maybe it's meant to happen because of Max, like because we don't really know much about the transect. Like, it's basically a doorway to alternate realities. We know that in issue 1. I mean, we know that in arc 1. And then when we get to the end of the third arc, we can see the transect is completely destroyed. It's all messed up. It's like if any of you remember Twin Mirror, I played this on my channel a while ago. It was a game by Dotnoid. It completely, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Sam, was it? I think the main character was Sam. And he's got the Mind Palace, and I don't know, the Mind Palace kind of resembles the transect a bit, but more broken and distorted. So maybe what's happening is that Max here is in the transect is actually her own psyche breaking apart, and so she didn't come to this reality. Her guilt and sorrow, like her guilt for what she's been through, and like how bad that's the same thing. Just like she had a guilty conscience, and she ended up creating this reality where Chloe was happy. So Max has to like give up on this Chloe and in order to go back to her timeline or something. I don't know. Like these are just theories. We don't have much to go on, but I will be keeping an eye out for news and letting you all know what I think. So that's the end of this theory video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. This is TotalGamerJunkie, signing off.